think we need some spirituality at the moment. I think that is something that we are very seriously lacking in our world, and it concerns me that we're being encouraged to really depart from our true natural spiritual self. And here's AJ Roberts to bring us back to our true natural and spiritual self. Good morning, AJ. How are you?
Good morning, Sonia. How are you? Good to
Well,
see you again.
it's absolutely lovely to have you with us. Obviously, absolute mad times we're currently living through. If
Mm.
anybody doesn't know, AJ has a brilliant podcast series. I'm sure many of you have watched it. You are a British Army veteran, you're an entrepreneur, you're a coach, you're a speaker, and you are, of course, a podcast host. And here's the thing is that I was just saying just before you came on that what we're experiencing is horrible. We don't know who to trust. We're turning on each other. We're
Mm.
becoming increasingly paranoid. We're becoming disassociated and detached from our very core. From at the end of every show, I always do something to try and bring it back to the person, who they
Mm.
are and what they're about. But I am delighted you've joined us because you have extensively covered the subject of spiritual warfare. Are we in a spiritual war?
Yeah, predominantly before anything else is bigger than any type of warfare. We are in fact in like a multi-facet war, and everyone's experiencing it on a day-to-day level. In the physical, mentally, psychologically, financially, and spiritually. So it's a very like a very kinetic war that people don't always see, as we well know. So, we us the people, no matter what race, religion, gender you are, have all been on the same side at war with the very people that have waged war on we the people. And everything that we've experienced in the last 4 years, all the psyops have been purposely placed by the dark agenda, not just the whole scandemic side of stuff, but like everything else has been thrown in. So, people can only cast their minds back to the George Floyd psyop, at the start, like when lockdowns were first a thing. So that was thrown in obviously to create that race divide between people while everyone was still trying to work out what was going on with COVID and everything else like that. And it's just been systematically psyop after psyop after psyop, and including obviously the government's new medicine and the push for that. And that's where it all boils down to in terms of the spiritual warfare. So the whole agenda with the shots, it wasn't just like obviously they needed.
Careful, we're on YouTube. You've got to be very
Yeah,
careful with their medical
yeah,
misinformation. They'll boot us off
yeah,
quicker than we can breathe. Avoid that one.
yeah, yeah.
Everybody knows what it's like on YouTube. And the only reason, well, one of the reasons I stream on here is obviously the reach is so huge. But like everywhere else, we're subject to
Mm.
censorship, aren't we? And the
Oh,
thing is,
100%.
it's so painful, isn't it? Because
Mm.
you're
Yeah.
a spiritual man. I met you, and you have a certain vibration about you, which is very strong, and you are very kind of self-possessed. You almost, I mean, you seem to understand yourself brilliantly, and that enables you to also understand other people. Where does that come from?
Experience. And I say it to people all the time, you don't need to have been in the military to be a soldier. We're all a soldier. We're a soldier first. So we're all like warriors, right? Every single one of us from birth. And I always show people that we're this amazing like pillar of light that's perfectly created from birth. It's just that we have multiple programs and viruses installed into us, like each and every one of us in different ways. So I've got like military programming, like being the eldest, I've gone through loads of my whole life. I've been like captain of sports teams, leader, oldest of four boys. They've all been military, all this kind of stuff. And then obviously being in the military, working at Port and Down, being a PTI within the military, running my own gym in Australia. So all the coaching, all of that is basically my basic training for now and where we're going. Just like you've been brilliantly doing all the work that you've been doing and bringing all everything to the surface, like repetitively, consistently, stuff like that, because everything you've been through and all those hardships, you had to go through, like, almost feel like you've been hit by a train, right? Because you haven't, the way you've been vindicated, like everything. And every single person watching this, like, have been through their trials and tribulations for now. All the people that have come into your lives, been and gone, they've all been there to have those lessons for you. When everyone stood up against me, especially ex-colleagues in the military. It wasn't nice. I had a WhatsApp group made about me with like 100 people in it that I served with,
Wow.
and it was all like an anti-AJ group, right? But like I had to
Horrible.
experience. It's not nice, but I had to experience that to keep me going, to fuel my fire. Do you know what I mean? and we've all had to go through that. So that's where it comes from. And then obviously now I'm very much focusing on really raising that masculine energy, because the men within our societies and Western world have been completely hammered. That then's obviously hammered the women and caused that separation. So men have just been purposely socially engineered into being hooked on football, accumulators, beer and cocaine at the weekends,
Right, right.
away from
And
being the
porn.
protector male. Yeah, all
Yeah,
of it. So
yeah.
I'm working hard at the minute with a number of veterans. Actually, we're really trying to bring home this like masculine energy and open the heart space of the men. Because when you open the heart of the men, that's what's happened. They've tried using pharmaceuticals. Look how many men have gone bald. Look how many men now are overweight. Look how many men are walking around just with a can of Monster in one hand and a vape in the other, because they're so depressed from being on the debt cycle, right? Thinking that they're only good enough to get up and go to work every day, get
Right,
on the tools
right.
to feed the kids. Like, again, that's what's happened. And so that we need to ignite this spiritual warrior aspect within the men. And how many women watching this right now, including yourself, are crying out for a man to share his vulnerabilities, to ignite that spiritual aspect of himself, so he knows who the f he is. Yeah. And that's been this whole thing, is to dumb down and hammer the males, so they never know truly who they are, so they don't stand up and protect. We were all there 2020, like observing these protests. It was like
Yep,
80% female.
yeah.
And it's only now that you can really see that masculine energy is like really shot up, which is great. We just need to channel that. And so many men now are going into healing, and they're healing themselves from all their wounds and all their traumas and stuff like that, and then they're going into healing others, like myself, our events and stuff. So it's that the spiritual war has literally forced us all and ignited us all. It's part of this grand awakening across the whole world, to start really stepping into who we are, stepping into our power, and stepping into being sovereign, because that is the ultimate goal.
Now, all of that sounds fabulous, right? And I love it. I come from a spiritual background, so all of that is like second nature to me, and I wouldn't consider it any other way. But for some people, just kind of entering that can all sound a bit woo-woo, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't need to tell you that.
Mm.
How do we make it real for people in order for them to be able to, because everything you've just said is absolutely right. It is happening. We know that. We've seen the dumbing down of society, the separation of men and women, how men have been demasculinized, or
Mm.
whatever the word is, but you know what I mean. And women have been kind of taught to hugely disrespect man, and vice versa, because obviously the attacks on women from men is awful as well. So
Mm.
how do we even start to deal with that? Because even now, when there are people like you and I who are awake, for want of a better description, but even ourselves, we can get dragged into the darkness, because that expression, right? And that is, if you stare too long in the abyss, it starts to stare back at you. Well, we are, by dint of what you and I are doing, we're staring at a lot of darkness. How do you remain in the light all the time?
We've got to experience duality and see that for what it is. So if you can just surrender to the fact that like we have to experience duality throughout our whole lives, so that we never understand what is dark and what is light. So at the moment, everything's being exposed to the surface, isn't it? Like everything from every single black hat operation, which is literally like everything from the riots on the streets, which is literally just lots of hotel trained immigrants acting. I've literally been sharing all the fake scenes they've been making and stuff like that. So everything from that to Israel to every negative dark frequency you can imagine is all currently in one pot right now, right? And it's boiling like this. And at the
Right,
same time, people
right.
are shedding all these emotions, that they're going through a spiritual awakening, because the whole planet's ascending, we're ascending. So just if you can just understand the fact that like you need to experience the dark to understand what the light truly is and your place in it. That's why we're all experiencing what we're experiencing in our own versions of our own reality at the same time. So this is where the collective consciousness is so important, and people are now starting to understand that. So cast your mind back to 2020, our true powers as a collective were used against us. So they created so much fear and panic within the collective consciousness that the collective then project that fear, project that reality. Art of warfare: know thy enemy better than they know themselves. That
Exactly.
they've always known us better than we know ourselves. But
Yeah.
now we're all coming online. So the ley lines in the country are like magnifying big time. That's why you see so many crop circles all around the UK, because of the crystal quartz in the land. They've wanted us in the UK kept off this land and like disconnected from it, because it's one of the most powerful lands in the world. This is why they turned the UK in pretty much a human farm for centuries. This goes way back longer than our lifetimes, right? This is why there's so many wind farms around the country, because the wind farms power frequency, negative frequency onto the land. They negatively charge the waters with lattice, all the lattices underneath, so they're distorting the waters, poisoning the waters. And this is what, again, like, so like you've got all these port towns on like the East Coast, for example, they're so dumbed down and run down and stuff
No
like
wonder
that.
we're angry.
Exactly, and people don't see it because the frequency is keeping them within this small little world.
Yeah.
So people, everyone can see it now, right? Everyone can see all these towns, high streets, everything. They're all run down. They're all like not been looked after. They're all full of vape shops and Turkish barbers and nail bars and coffee shops, blah blah blah.
I mean, this is all true. This is that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
literally a snapshot of a high street these days.
But it's everywhere. It's like it's just a template, and it's created on purpose. So if you're seeing that, you're well done. That means your awareness and your consciousness is that high that you're seeing the 3D projection that the dark want everybody to live in. And you're seeing all these people living in this projection, right? And they don't know it. They're the ones walking around, queuing up outside the chemist, uh, sitting in front of the news every night. Then they're everywhere, right? Because they have to be. Otherwise, none of this BS actually can ever exist. So that's what. So if you're seeing that right now, well done. You're literally on the right path. Your universe is showing you the 3D projection and the life and the small world that they want everyone living in, which I always show people as like a box. Everyone walks around with this a program box on their head,
Right.
like a TV, right?
Right.
And each corner is a controlling construct. So you've got government, you've got military, you've got law, you've got media, you've got education, you've got medical systems. Do you see what I mean? And
Yeah.
each one of those systems all work in unison together, don't they? To
Yeah.
keep you in that box.
Yeah.
That's where the term think outside the box comes from, because we
Right.
need to break free from those illusions in that box and see them for what it is. And that's what's happening right now. Everyone's seeing the illusions for what they are. And this is why it's so important that we raise the vibration of everybody, men, women, children, black, white, Muslim, gay, lesbian, whatever.
That's right. Just keep raising it up.
got-
Keep raising it up. So
That's
here's
what I
the
mean.
thing. I'm looking at some of the comments, right? And LB said it's a lonely path at the moment. And that touches
Yeah.
my heart, because I think a lot of people feel very isolated
Yes.
and alone, right? How do you deal with that?
Well, just for the people that are commenting and feel like that, and I'm sure that they've probably commented that on behalf of a lot of people as well, because this is why we do our events around the country, where it's all about bringing community together. This is why we've got an amazing online community we started a couple of years ago, and it's been growing and growing and growing. So people in there are connecting with each other all around the country. Our events are bringing people together all around the country. They're getting like amazing healing experiences. They're connecting with their soul family. We're really blessed to do what we do. But like, it's a countrywide, worldwide. It's all about bringing the communities back together. So don't feel like you're isolated. There's millions of people out there just like you. There's millions of people out there that are just waking up to the fact that 2020, 2021 wasn't what we thought it was, and maybe regretting decisions and that and the other. Don't worry, you're going to be totally fine. There's nothing wrong with you. You just need to surround yourself with all these amazing people out there that are going through these awakening processes as well, because the new medicine, ladies and gents, was just part of your awakening. You haven't done anything wrong. Okay, it's just it was needed in your story, right, to wake you up to the illusion. That's literally it. Okay, you're not going to keel over and die. Like, please don't buy into all the fear porn that's being banned around now, because it's safe to do so.
Right. That has to impact us negatively, doesn't it? Well,
Yes,
a constant deluge of us being told that we're sort of all in trouble. We're going to be at war. There's going to be riots. When you have this on a constant basis, it has to be really harmful for us, for our psyche, doesn't it? And we
That's
need
the
to
whole point.
protect ourselves against that, don't we, though?
Yes, yeah, and but you only simply need to just sit back and just be better every day at like discerning what information you feel is BS to you, doesn't resonate to you, and just doesn't sit right with your perspective. And then like the better you get at that's you like owning your reality, because we create our own reality. So we're not letting anybody dictate our reality for us, which is the whole point of the media and TV, etc. So the better you get at that, the better you're protecting yourself, because the higher vibe you are every day, your universe literally reciprocates that. So if you live in fear, that you feel isolated, you live in fear all the time, you're just sharing every link going on Telegram and all this kind of stuff. All that stuff, fear sits in you, and then you just project it on social media, and then more people project it, and then more people project it, and more people project it. That's the collective consciousness working, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just sit and the best thing anybody can do right now is stop doing everything externally, stop looking for the answers externally, okay? Because you have every single answer within you. All the keys and all the codes and all the histories to the entire universe are within you. So you need to just turn the lens inwards. That's literally it, right?
Oh yeah.
You talk about how do people connect to finding out that stuff. Look at me. I'm not like I'm just a geezer, right? I just got a t-shirt on, tattoos, like ex-military. I'm not sat here with a cloak and a crystal strapped to my forehead
No,
saying,
no, no,
no, no.
exactly,
But
exactly.
I meditate every single day, and it's where all the answers are coming from
Right,
because
right. Because
we're
because you
connecting.
understand the answers are already within you. I've got to read
Yeah,
you some of these comments. Absolutely brilliant. Loopy EMT says, join AJ's community. It's life-changing if you are lonely, beautiful people on it. Anne Marie said, and the truth will set you free. The older sibling resonates. I'm the oldest of 5 girls, and they're just waking up. It's beautiful.
amazing.
Lucy is on her spiritual journey.
Beautiful.
And Ian says, yeah, what we've been dealing with is self-consumed small consciousness.
Mhm.
Rowie says, despite all our rage, we are still just rats in a cage. And I think that's an interesting one because that also resonates with a comment that somebody else said. And that is David said, sorry, but we ain't meditating our way out of this one. And that does seem like a fair point, doesn't
Yeah,
it, though,
yeah.
AJ?
I know absolutely. Although I always stress like meditation is the best medication. So it's not a case of meditating our way out of it and all sitting on the edge of a cliff together going and creating some big vibration. But that is the key to like unlocking all of these things within you. So, and if every individual does that, just turns the lens inwards, that raises the consciousness within themselves, that raises the collective consciousness. So it's just in essence, it's an ancient tool that has been there this entire time to help us raise our consciousness and discover who we are. So it's not going to fix everything. It's just a tool to enable you to constantly, daily take everything to the next level. And then your universe and your life and everything you experience will reciprocate that.
Shug said it is a prison. It is a prison planet. Once you take an overview, AJ was right. The powers that be, those working for the powers that be, are not doing their jobs properly, says Kenneth. I agree with you. They're also talking about rhesus negative. I'm a rhesus negative. I'm an A rhesus negative.
Mhm.
I'm sure many of you won't be surprised to hear that, given what we've been told about rhesus negatives. But I think generally, most people, for the most part, they realize we're being played, AJ, and they want something more. People want something more. We were taught from a very early age, schooling immediately detached us, didn't it?
Yeah.
It taught us that we should all be the same, that we should conform and comply. And
Mhm.
that was the way forward. That was how we were going to get on in the world. But actually, what I've discovered, AJ, is the way we get on in the world is by being our true, authentic self, even when we make mistakes, right? I think one of the reasons that I've continued to be able to do my work is people know I'm real. I'm like
Mhm.
as real as it gets, mate. And that includes all the mistakes I make on camera, any of those things. And I think authenticity is the way forward. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And one thing I've learned over like being in the military and working in corporate situations and then being working for myself, and I'm sure that you'll agree and everybody else will, is that like whenever you're in any of those systems, like you're never your authentic self because you're playing a role. And so you're always like a lot of the time acting up. Like so in the military, it's like you're always trying to get to the next level, next level, next
Right,
level because
right.
because you're pension trapped and so you're never actually your authentic self. And like across all of these platforms, whether it's like within the media or the corporate, like military, police, whatever, you're always trying to strive to get up that pyramid. And those pyramids are literally systems are created on purpose because it's all about control. So you're never ever your authentic self. You're just playing a role. Think about it, like what you like at work. Oh, hey boss, anything to, and then you get in the car and then you go home and you play a role of being mum or dad. And it's like so in essence, we're all like in this experience like constantly playing different roles all the
Yeah,
time. It's
yeah.
it's 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 cutting back from playing roles and just centering yourself and being your authentic self. That's how you magnetize people, and that's how people around you wake up. If we're always acting out of our authentic self around people, you're not shining your light big, and that's not what harmonizes people, and
Right.
that's what disallows people from accepting the information. So 2020, 2021, right? We're all shaking everyone like, well, can't you see what we can see? And we're all
Right.
get stressed out. But
Right.
it's because we're not raising their vibration. Our vibration is not high. So you know what I mean? So then you're in very high vibe energetic fields, and then people can just accept the information. That's why now people are understanding all this information. Suddenly it's like this grenade's gone off over the last few weeks, isn't it? People are suddenly a lot more receptive.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
they're speaking their own
Yeah.
truths themselves.
Yeah.
You know, like since yesterday, I've like been absolutely barraged with people either attacking me from stuff from the past, but I've just allowed it to happen because it's like they're purging what their truth. Do you see what I mean?
Right.
And that's what's happening now. People are going, "Ah," right, and we're seeing all of the media like literally looks like it's under control because it's just pure truth coming out, isn't it, everywhere?
Yes.
Um,
Yes, it
and it's
is. And
all
it
the
is
people.
absolutely. And they can do everything they can to try and stop it or change
Mm,
it and or distort it or spin it. But the
yeah,
fact is the truth is coming whether they like it or not. I
yeah.
think Fluffy has the hots for you, AJ, on the I'm
Fluffy.
judging by the
Hey, Fluffy.
comments that are being made here. More power to your elbow, Fluffy. And this is lovely. What was that? Oh, that was a comment I was just going to read. I've missed it now. I mean, there's loads of lovely comments. You should go back and read them, AJ. They're absolutely brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Winner
Very
said,
kind.
I am authentic, but I'm not in work, etc. That takes me out of myself like robots that work for corporations. Well, of course, because as AJJ is saying, it's all designed to do that. I
Mm,
mean, it is. And the thing is that obviously we have to work. We have to earn money. But there are ways, I believe, not to be on that 9 to 5
yeah,
hamster
yeah,
wheel,
yeah,
AJ. And I
yeah.
think that's important that we do everything we can to try and craft a lifestyle like that. And I understand not all of us are starting off from the same point, but trust me, people, I started off from poverty. So I still managed to craft a
Yeah,
life for myself that worked for me and my family.
beautiful.
And, but again, we've all got different resources, but we need to tune in, don't we? Much more to who we are. We need to drown out the noise. How do you drown out the noise, mate?
Well, I mean, the first thing that was mentioned earlier is, I just sit in meditation. Like, it always drowns out the noise for me. And um, obviously, I'm very aware of my role in this life. So a lot of my meditations are kind of geared around that, like, and working with my own healing energies and all this kind of stuff. But in terms of drowning out the noise, it's like we're surrounded by these distractions on purpose to literally take you away from yourself all the time. This is why you can go down any street, like look at any street when the schools are leaving, and like you won't see many kids that haven't got a phone in their hand and they're not going. Have you
Right,
seen Andrew Tate's
right.
new car? Have you seen Ronaldo's new whatever? Have
Yeah,
you seen this person? Have you seen this? Have you seen? Everything's designed to keep you external, and none of these kids are saying to each other, "Do you know what? When I leave school, I want to build a real big business that helps people." It's like
right,
kids aren't
right.
talking about their passions and their
No,
everything because they're too busy following false idols. So that
yeah.
in itself is just one bit of noise. Then you've got the TV, social media, everything else like that. It's all designed to distort the mind and keep you in that box I mentioned. So just get outside the box, like get outside in nature. Like nature is your best friend. Like we are nature, right? There's a reason why our thumbprints are the same shapes as trees prints, right? We
Oh,
are, we are Earth. The Earth
that's a
is
good
you.
point. That is a
Yeah.
good point. Yeah, the circle. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's a very
So
good point. I like that. I like
yeah,
that.
and
And
we're supposed to be connected like trees, right? So every tree and every plant under the sea or on the land on this entire planet is connected, like we are supposed to be. Okay, it resembles us. I call it the wood wide web, right? And how they're all connected. But like we're supposed to be the same, right? And that's why we're supposed to be deeply connected to the earth. Earth is an anagram of heart, and we experience our whole life and reality through the heart. Again, this is why they want to keep us disconnected from being outdoors, disconnected from the heart, all this kind of stuff, because it's all connected like we should be. So in terms of drowning out the noise, sit in silence, turn the lens inwards, but also connect with as many people as possible now who are on a similar path of you. I can't stress that enough because as soon as you do, watch your vibration just
that's right.
skyrocket.
It's liberating. I love it when I go out to talk and there's a room full of people and the entire vibration is just as one. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Spirit High says AJ's statement is what I live by. I feel it works for me. And hallelujah to that. Do what works for you. AJ, thank you so much for joining us this morning and bringing some spiritual wisdom with you. God bless you. We'll put a link to AJ's podcast and his work in the description. This, everybody, is
Thanks
AJ
for having me.
Roberts. Take good care. Thanks for joining us. Lovely to have
Much love,
you.
guys.